right, hi everyone. This is Chuck Hyde, Vistage Chair here in Northwest Arkansas, and I'm really excited about Mike Foster joining our conversation about what's going on in this environment we find ourselves in and how we lead. Mike, we'll introduce you a little bit further, but welcome to our conversation. Thanks for being a part of this.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, you bet. So, Mike, one of the things I've talked about with this is somewhere between a greatest hits album and a remix. And particularly for you, I'm thinking remix because cybersecurity is something that we always need to be paying attention to. I don't know that we can give enough emphasis to it. And maybe right when we think we are, we probably just need to double down and do some more. But I think the remix part of this, Mike, is the contextual part of working remotely has just gone through the roof, right? And even Absolutely. As we think about, there's an article I read about the genie has left the bottle in terms of even if once we come back to the workplace, how we work. And there's just so many implications, as we were kind of talking off camera, of what's being secure in our IT infrastructure really means. And that's why I really wanted, as I mentioned to you, wanted you early in this series to help us understand some of those bogeys. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So for those of you that don't know Mike is the founder and CEO of the Foster Institute, and it's a consulting business, and how he works with CEOs and business owners on how to best set up and understand, frankly, their IT infrastructure, protecting their computer systems while driving productivity. It's got to be a both and. It's not just about protection, but it's about productivity with Mike. It includes performing security audits, and understanding strategic plans within IT infrastructure. My favorite part, though, Mike, of your bio is that you're a CEH. That's not just because those are my initials, Mike, but a CEH
I think that
is a certified ethical hacker. I tell people all the time I know a certified ethical hacker just so I can sound smart, right? And my network's good. But I love this part, and some of the things you showed us when you were with us. He was with our groups way back in November of 2017. I remember that presentation so well. You had our CEO's complete attention that day, and a lot of practical takeaways. So again, thanks for being a part of this in this remix section. I want to start first of all. How are you, and how have you been personally impacted by this COVID-19 crisis?
All of our workers are used to working remotely too. So we closed down the office and everybody just works full time from home, as I imagine many of your people do as well. It's really changed things. And since the conventions aren't happening because the airfare isn't going, all of our keynote speeches, of course, got canceled.
Right.
And you're familiar, a whole lot of things have gone Zoom, even some of the keynotes. So we're doing what your people are doing a lot of as well, and that is communicating like people all over the United States through remote communication like Zoom, TeamViewer, Teams, all kinds of different services out there. GoToMeeting. Yeah. It's important to have that. And we, of course, have had to alter our offerings. We're doing remote audits now, and we've got some forums set up where we do a weekly podcast for people who don't know anything about IT, but they're supposed to be the ones to talk to managed service provider. Then we have another one for IT pros. We're just kind of changing everything, how we work, to be remotely for now.
Okay. Yeah, to get that expertise out there into the different channels of, the spectrum of understanding, right? And how you're communicating.
Yes, it's essential we get things secure because it is a really tough time.
Well, let's dig into that because, Mike, I think, again, we talked that specifically whether it's work from home and how that's going to go forward, whether we're using Zoom or how people may be even accessing their company's network from home, how they might be using their own personal computer, their one that they own, to access into their work. All that stuff is going on, and that's a lot. But what should companies be thinking about and looking for in this scenario right now that maybe have gone on hyperdrive since all this has started?
Well, as you've probably read, and unfortunately is true, the attackers are certainly taking advantage of this situation. They're not saying, oh gosh, this horrible thing's going on, we're going to give you a break. It's the exact opposite, because companies, and I believe you just mentioned this, are working so much from home, and home networks are so inherently insecure. Just because your IT pros have an opportunity at your office to really lock things down, at home it's not like that at all. You've got all kinds of people in the household sometimes, and all kinds of open things, Minecraft, if you got kids, there's all kinds of stuff happening. So the attackers just love that wide open hole and are taking advantage of it. So there are several things we're encouraging people to do with your home computers if you're not already. And one of those, of course, is to use antivirus. I imagine your IT pro has that set up. It's possible even that your IT pro has issued you a computer to take home, that's your work computer, or they may have already kind of wrapped their arms around your home computer in such a way that they can control if your patches are up to date, if your antivirus is working right. They kind of take control. But of course, the problem with that is if it's a home computer, it may not work like a home computer anymore. But that's really a decision for the executives to make. Do they want to have a devoted secure machine or a home machine that they change over to being more secure, or just let it be the kind of bring your own device sort of situation? If it is a bring your own device sort of situation, in addition to the having the antivirus on there, probably it could be argued the most important thing to do on your home computers, in fact, all of them, all the time, is to run those updates. And that works on phones, everything. But Microsoft especially, you have an opportunity to check for updates. In fact, that little bottom place on the bottom left-hand side of the screen where you're able to type stuff in and you just type in the word check for updates will pop up. You need to run that regularly. Hopefully things are set to automatic update. Hopefully you let them install. All that is essential to protect yourself. And on Macs, because a lot of people have Macs, it's the same thing. You click up on the little apple in the corner, then you click on About, and you'll see an option right there, check for updates. And you certainly need to do that. It is so essential for the updates. That'll protect you immensely against the problems that are out there. Something else you want to do on your home computer, if you haven't already, is uninstall something called Flash. Flash is an old technology. The attackers know that it's all around the United States, all around the world for that matter. So the attackers can exploit holes, problems in Flash, much like they're going after Zoom because it's so popular. They're looking for ways to prying their way in. But get rid of Flash. It reduces that exposure. You may find out later on you had to have Flash. It's very unlikely. But if you do, then you go to the Adobe website where you get Flash. It's important to tell you, don't go to the little icon that pops up on your screen that says, oh no, you need Flash, click here. That's almost always fake, and you're getting ready to get yourself in a world of hurt. But if you do want to, please email me, email Chuck. He can get you to me. I can send him the information of the real place to go get Flash. Probably not going to need it. The second thing I want you to do at home, if you haven't, is uninstall something called Java. Java, hopefully it's not installed on your machine, but it might be. You need to get it off there. Chances are you're not using it, but since it is involved and installed on so many computers, and there are other things about it to make it easier for attackers to exploit. So you need to get that off there. And then probably the other recommendation I have, and you may need to talk to your IT pro about this because it involves some extra work, but they may be able to walk you through some of it. But what it's called is called having a golden image. What that means is once your computer is set up right, and this could apply to your computer from the office if it's work issued, or even your home computer. What you can do is take the computer when it's in a known good state, which hopefully right now, and you make a backup copy of it. But that backup is not like a regular backup. It's not backing up files and data. It's not like that. It's what's called an image backup. So literally, if you could pull out your hard drive and you could see ones and zeros, which is binary, it's how computers think. If you saw all the 101100, that's what gets backed up as an exact replica of your hard drive. So that way, if something goes wrong with the computer, be it your work or your home, don't troubleshoot it. Just put that exact replica back on, this known good image, and now your computer's right where it was when you knew it was good, which is so important because the computer might act up. You might wonder, is it infected with something? Or, oh no, someone set it and installed Flash and it's the wrong one. Or, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't connect to the office. It worked yesterday. Anything like that. All you have to do is dump the computer. It's like a reset. It puts the computer back the way it was in the beginning. But that's essential. And you need to talk with your IT pros about that. If you haven't, you may decide to do it on all your home computers. I'd certainly do that for all my kids' computers too. That way I don't have to troubleshoot if it's time for their Zoom class. You know, here just boom.
So Mike, that's an important part. You went through a lot of stuff there, which I love. Maybe again, for context, for people don't know, speak to a little bit as a certified ethical hacker, like what it means to have a way in, right? That you've told us some stories in the past about like the way you've got this sort of structure in place, but it really just takes one hole. And sometimes if you're at a like you told us a story one time about a hack that went through and it got through the HVAC systems and the HVAC provider into a company that way. But like in this work from home, like our kids' computers, anything else that's going on, like just give us a feel like how people find their ways in. And all of a sudden you've got customer data, you've got financials, you've got whatever else. And all of a sudden you've got some malware or some type of, someone's going to require you to pay a fee for to get your computer back. What's that look like? Just give us a sense for how the mind of how the hacker works.
How the mind or how the technology functions in the background, or a little
maybe just the lay person's reason to be worried about the way it goes in, the way they find themselves in.
Well, yeah, just it's important to know some of the ways. I certainly hope everyone here is concerned already. If they haven't, they should just open up the news, which is terrible, bad news these days. So I can understand why you wouldn't, but it is extremely serious. One of the ways, this may be helpful, one of the easiest, quickest ways for an attacker to get into a company is to go through one of the home users. And one of the easiest ways to get a home user to allow the attacker in is for that user to click on a link in an email message. It looks like it's going to a real place, but in fact, that email message is taking them to we'regonnahoseyounow.com. Same thing opening an attachment. We've got a client right now, they've just had a major breach in their company, and it was all because one user opened an attachment, and it is very unfortunate. But the reason that's so dangerous is the way firewalls work. See, a firewall pretty much keeps out the bad stuff out here, and your users are inside the firewall. And this could be the little inexpensive home firewall that doesn't amount to too much versus the really strong firewall at the office that your IT team has set up.
Right.
But when you have attacks coming in from the outside, the firewalls are going to bounce those right off, and that's good. All firewalls do that, or they're just not working right. But as soon as you have someone on the inside and they say, okay, I want to go out to website xyz.com, then the firewall takes note of that. They say, all right, Chuck asked for xyz.com. So when xyz.com responds, the firewall lets that information back through. It's kind of like you vouched for someone. When you go out and reach out, the firewall says, okay, you can come back in. The problem is, though, when someone clicks a link that says we'regonnahoseyounow.com, that request goes out through the firewall, and then the firewall, when the data comes back that's malicious, you could think of it as a hacker coming at your firewall. Then the firewall says, oh yeah, you're from we'regonnahoseyounow.com. We were expecting you to come right in. Yeah. So that's where the phishing really, really gets you. And so there are other ways in too. But
it sounds like now is a really good time then, if companies haven't done so already, is to remind people how vigilant we need to be in terms of the kinds of things and making sure that you're not unknowingly inviting that hacker into your system.
That's right. Yeah. Another thing that they're trying a lot of, especially during COVID-19, is your users will get some kind of email message. In fact, we send these out to tests all the time to our clients, but you'll get an email message that says, all right, here's an essential Zoom meeting that you've got to have about COVID-19. It's tomorrow at noon. You have to register for this. You're going to be in big trouble. And people will click a link and they think they're going to a website that's going to ask for their Microsoft credentials or some other username and password, and it looks legit. It's got the right logos. It's got everything. And people will put in their username and password. In fact, we have one client in Philadelphia that we had one of the people, they had like 200 employees, but one guy actually entered his credentials like 7 times in a row. I don't know why, but it's like, why isn't this working? All the attackers need to do is get it once. And of course, that person's been educated as well as everyone else. He didn't get in trouble. He's just a trusting guy. And I think if he does it again, he might be in trouble. Right. Just be suspect of everything.
Yeah. I guess in the context of COVID-19 and some of the bad players that are out there, you mentioned that's increased, or give us a sense for what you're seeing. Has it changed? Has anything changed about the way attackers are coming in, or is it just more prevalent because the opportunity is now so great? Give us an idea of the landscape, Mike.
Well, something that a lot of people are aware of is back on November the 21st of last year, not that many months ago, But attackers got into two different companies' databases. One company is called People Data Labs. The other one's called Oxy Data. But these companies are what are called data aggregation companies, meaning they have a record, they have a profile on all of us. So Chuck, they know you, they know all your kids, they know anyone you've ever been friends with, where you graduated high school, what your dog's names were. And they just do everything they can to gather all kinds of data so that if someone else wants to, this is not for hacking. They do this so if someone wants to market, maybe somebody
You're right,
comes
right.
to, people who owned a Mercedes-Benz 12 years ago and graduated and, whatever. So once the attackers, though, access that data, which really was meant for something good, marketing, but the attackers now know all of that stuff about everybody, and it's packaged up in a neat little package, all about that person. So what that means is with their phishing, there's one kind that's just kind of random, sent it out everywhere. But there's another kind of phishing called spear phishing. And that's where they really go after you. And that's where they're going to know where you were. They're going to know all kinds of details. So people of the world may receive an email message that you look at it and you're like, my gosh, this has to be real. How else would the emailer know all this stuff? It must be the real person, even if it has a weird reply address. It must be the right guy, because they can hide reply addresses for that matter. It may look like it's the right person, which is a good reason, by the way. Don't ever hit reply. If you think it might be from Tom and you want to be sure it was Tom, forward the message to Tom. Don't hit reply. Forward it to Tom.
Okay. And so you said that those are two of those companies that have already been attacked. And so that's out there. So that again, hypervigilance, hypersensitivity to this is going to serve us very, very well, not only in our homes and our own identities, but our company data and whatever else we're housing about our clients, our vendors, our customers. All that's up for grabs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Wow. So Mike, again, we could go on this all day. I've got here, here's the handout you gave us, and there were 12 things on it, 3 years ago. And I remember that day, we were all just kind of like, what do we do? But you said, hey, do one thing, right? At least pick one, right? Pick one and do it. You're going to be more secure. And then you can maybe tick these off. And I will tell you, the reason I keep this close is I've been ticking them off over time. So I've been, in terms of my own use, on this, because you clearly had my attention that day.
Good.
In closing, Mike, what are one or two ideas if we're going to do something? What's your top advice to our Vistage members? People who are leading small, medium, private businesses in terms of what they're doing.
I think the most essential thing is to develop a strong relationship with your IT pro, or have someone to be that liaison. And with some of your members, it will be that they have an outsourced company, and you still need someone to kind of be the go-between, because you can't expect yourself to understand the technology stuff. And IT pros and outsourced companies, understandably, are very, very, very busy right now. Yeah. And not yours, but sometimes people tend to work on what's visible. They'll fix things that you're going to notice something's going on, which unfortunately the attackers are taking advantage of that, and they're going after things that your IT pro or IT company, if they're fixing it, it's going to seem to you like they're doing nothing. So you really need to have somebody kind of be a advocate for you and a communicator between the two of you. So I'd encourage you to get that if you haven't got already. Just build a strong relationship, send them brownies if like brownies, just get to know them really, really well.
Yeah, I tell you what strikes that for me, Mike, is that we've been for so many weeks now talking about this with respect to our banks, right?
Oh,
that
yes.
It's coming, like, have that relationship with your bank. I've been talking to my members about it. Relationship, and we're seeing that where it's been good and strong pay off with all the PPP activity and all the rest.
Yes.
I don't know that we're thinking in parallel like we probably should be, to the point you just made about our IT pro. That we need to be that should be on par or right behind, right? If we got funding, but we got to get this done. What I'm hearing today.
Or have someone there for you.
Yes.
An independent person.
Yeah. Right. Totally. Mike,
cool.
I can't thank you enough for your time today, your insights. I know there's so much more, but I hope this has been a bit of a booster shot for our members to think, oh, I need to, if I haven't yet, I need to get on this, because it's vital. And there's a time where this is just really, really critical right now. So thank you for how you've invested in our members in the past. Thank you for this investment you're making today. And I hope our paths will cross again real soon. But again, appreciate you, Mike.
Thanks for spreading the word.
All right, man. We'll talk soon.
Okay.